What is the most important thing in your life? And what if it was only based on the actions and effort you actually took? What keeps you going, even when the odds seem impossible? How long can a person really allow negativity to drive them before it ultimately consumes them? How could it be worth it to endure, save, and sacrifice when you could just as easily spend, make excuses, and avoid accountability? Your purpose, the fuel that pushes you and drives you to the highest heights that you are capable of. This is the infinite evolution. You can choose to argue with reality, or you can simply adapt to it. The choice is yours. Without a cause worthy of devotion, you won't be able to access the fire and launch yourself into the greatness that you were capable of, while also keeping you sharp and focused on the journey to it. Don't let it happen to you. When you're serious about your goals, the destination becomes clear. You choose the path before you ever take a single step. But the source you use to set the foundation and keep yourself grounded must be done with intention. It must be something pure and that cannot be bought, because once you have a price, there'll always be somebody who can afford it. Don't let it happen to you. Different journeys require different fuels, but the engine behind everything, plus the fuel you use to power it all, has to be powerful enough to push you through the fatigue, trials, heartbreaks, tribulation, all of it that for sure you are going to face at some point in life. When your purpose is bigger, you'll be able to push through. Small reminders, gentle nudges that let you know this thing is bigger and cannot be forgotten. Today we're talking about finding a cause worthy of dedicating your time and effort to on a consistent basis. To be prepared for what's coming is the least you could do, but even before that, you must have something driving you that's gonna push you to even get you to that point. This is where your purpose comes in. You're gonna be tested on the way up, and especially once you reach the top. This is why your purpose must be greater than the superficial. I won't lie and tell you that money can't temporarily impact happiness, especially when you're coming from a place where you don't have much of it. But once you hit a certain point, you realize money isn't where the happiness is coming from. It's the things that it brings you. The joy, the peace, and the moments that you're able to celebrate with your loved ones. The times and moments that you'll never be able to get back, but that you would gladly pay millions for just to be able to relive once again. This is what life is about, and this is what your purpose should be rooted in. Once you understand that there will always be another dollar to chase, but the time and the moments that you get with those loved ones are precious and you'll never be able to get them again, your thinking and your perspective begins to change. Allow it to occur. The dance, the wedding, the recital, the moment, whatever the thing was, those times are priceless. Don't let them slip away. Sometimes as a parent, provider, or loved one, you simply can't be there for every single moment. But when you can, do it. Show up for the big moments. When they're up, when they're down, when they're sick, when they're happy or sad. Show up when it matters most. Show up when nobody else would have known. And watch the way your outcomes, life, and peace begin to flourish. This is the infinite evolution. Because when you make time and you show up, even though your schedule oftentimes doesn't permit it, it matters that much more. When you show up and take time out of a busy schedule and make time for the people who you care about most, you show through action what really matters. Imagine being driven by money and then being tested with your integrity. You're gonna fail every time. Some things were meant to be priceless, sacred, untouched, and not for sale. Your purpose is definitely one of them. And even beyond that, if you don't wake up and choose for yourself, somebody else will. Don't fall for the trick. If you look at the way people are living today, they are more confused, divided, and ultimately lukewarm on the issues that matter most than never before. And why do you think that is? Could it be that the reasons behind it all, the fuel pushing them and driving them for better, isn't quite as strong as what they needed to be, isn't quite as efficient as what they needed to be, doesn't allow them to soar to the heights and become the great person, the light that they knew they could have been? Don't let it happen to you. How many people are chasing validation over purpose, attention over substance, integrity over engagement? And the reasons for doing it are numerous. I recently saw a video of a championship level athlete describing the difference between what it takes to be the best and why most people aren't capable of reaching that height. And one of the things that really stood out in my mind from this conversation was most people congratulate themselves and feel like they're doing good if they're consistent and show up for a few days or a few weeks. But if you're serious about being at the top of your game, what about showing up for 3 months in a row, 6 months in a row, a year, and never taking off? Because you know as long as you're in this game and you're serious about making it to the top, there is something called competition. She talked about how most people are happy to stick to their diet for a day or two or work out for a week or two. But what about showing up and being consistent for 3 to 6 months? What about never allowing yourself to get out of shape so that when training camp does come, you don't have to work as hard and you're able to soar to even greater heights because you didn't have to waste time getting yourself back into shape? Most people can do it for a little bit of time, but eventually they fall off. But the elite, the best of the best, don't fall off because they understand what's at stake, just how important it is, just how many others want it, and how serious they have to be if they really wanted to get it. I'm not saying you need to be a championship level athlete, but what about showing up for yourself, not for a day or 2 or 3, but for 3 to 6 weeks? The first step is always the most important, but once you lay the first brick, it's time to build a little momentum, one step after another, and you're off and running. Yes, it has to start somewhere, but once it does, you need to find a way to keep the ball rolling. This is the infinite evolution. There is nothing wrong with living an average life. Statistically speaking, most people do. But when you want more and it's been placed on your heart and you know for a fact that the Creator himself has tapped you on the shoulder, how dare you ignore the calling? To settle for anything less is torture. Don't let it happen to you. You will be asked to consistently show up and perform, especially when others aren't. Your fuel must be different, better, and sustainable if you want the same for your outcomes. The things that at their purest can't be bought and paid for, things like family, love, community, faith, your actions will reflect it. The father whose family is dependent on him to provide and set a good example is a lot different from the teenager who refuses to take out the trash. Their responsibilities are different, therefore their efforts and outcomes will be too. And that's okay, because they're at different stages of life. The responsibility of a child shouldn't be that of a grown man. Different seasons will require different levels of maturity and prioritization. This is the infinite evolution. The kid who barely has any responsibilities may not be ready to stand up for justice just yet, but the grown man, the adult who knows better and has the power and ability to stand up for what's right, he needs to do something. Once he turns 30, sees and understands the world as a man, his perspective and ultimately his actions should change if he's progressing in the right way. But at 35 and 40, when he sees and understands the ways of the world a bit better, more will be expected of him. They say heavy is the head that wears the crown. More is expected of him because more is within his control. Something needs to be done. A toddler's priority can be cartoons and playtime. An 18-year-old is thinking about their first steps as an adult. What to do after you graduate high school, what your life is going to look like, where you're going to live, with who, what college you're going to go to, how you're going to afford it. Different journeys require different tools. And even at a young age, whether you're 18, 25, 32, young or old, the caliber of the purpose you choose cannot be taken lightly. Driven by attention, people-pleasing, fear, hate, and doubt, your actions will be too. How long can a person allow negativity to fuel them before it ultimately consumes everything they do? Don't let it happen to you. Our cars only operate when given the proper gasoline. Certain trucks and 18-wheelers require diesel fuel. Many luxury and sports cars only take premium gasoline. And there are some cars where if you just put the basic gas in, it's more than enough to get it done. The question is, what are you looking for? Are you trying to do something amazing and pull a haul that's going to require a ton of energy? You may need some diesel. Are you looking to race to the top and do it with style and comfort? You may need some premium fuel. Or are you trying to do things in the most basic, simplistic way possible? The regular everyday gas might be perfect for you. There is no right path. The only question is, which one will you choose to take? If it was only based on actions and effort, what's really the most important thing in your life? Different journeys require different tools, but the engine behind it all and the fuel you choose to use to power each and every moment is completely up to you. Don't let it go to waste. What if your dreams are so big you need rocket fuel in order to power the movement you were called for? What if the goal is to become the best in your industry or classroom or business or even of all time? Premium outcomes require premium octane fuel. The highest heights require the most highly capable engines. This is where your purpose comes in. Do you choose to argue and struggle with reality, or do you choose to accept what's in your control and adapt to whatever the situation is? To both understand and choose to have this level of mental resolve, time will continue to march on, with and without us. Each and every moment we get is a blessing. But even beyond that, being charged with a mission that drives you, even when exhausted, compels you to try different routes, strategies, and methods that others wouldn't even dare to. Challenge the mediocre and complacent with urgency and intensity because your purpose demands it. There is nothing wrong with living an average life, but if you know that you have been tapped on the shoulder by the great one himself, how dare you ignore the calling in order to be the best? This is the infinite evolution, because you will be tested on the way up, and especially once you reach the top. Not artificial, but intentionally chosen. Not superficial, but lasting and priceless. You choose the path before a single step is taken, all because of the purpose you chose. And if you're not intentional, one will be chosen for you by the culture, what sells, or to the highest bidder. So embrace being driven by a force much greater than you, one that can't be bought and one that won't allow you to ignore it for even another second. This is the infinite evolution.